As I was having a conversation earlier this evening with our next Hall of Fame inductee, I was chiding him a little bit about the poor choices that he made prior to coming to Stockton, because he played for us for a couple years. And then I also talked to him about something that continues to amaze me and anyone that's gotten to know Coach Jerry Matthews through the years. I said, tell me a little bit about Coach Matthews. And we were having a conversation. I said, the thing that I find amazing with him is that he can tell you what was going on way back when in 1990 and tell you that it was a Tuesday afternoon and he had to come in. His wife had a dentist appointment, so he drove her to work that day, yada, yada, yada. And lo and behold, over walks Coach Matthews. And I said, Coach, tell me about the story about Pat Holden coming to Stockton. And Coach Matthews went way back to that year, the phone call that he got from Pat's dad, the conversation they had. He talked about the big grin that came across his face. He talked about the game that Pat injured his thumb that Pat had forgotten. He talked about the player that replaced him and went through all of those things. And I just stared at Pat and I go, that's what we were talking about. So it's unbelievable. Coach Matthews continues to do that. Pat Holden for men's basketball will be our next honoree. Pat was a two-time All-NJAC first-team selection. In 1990, he was the NJAC Men's Basketball Player of the Year. He still owns the Stockton record for most free throws made in a season. He's on Stockton's top 10 list for career assists. His season totals, in one season he totaled 581 points and 146 assists. So he didn't just score points, he was able to distribute the ball as well. And in 1989-90, those are his numbers, and they're still the third highest totals, respectively, for one season by any individual that's ever put on the Stockton colors. He had the very prestigious award of being the first Stockton student athlete ever to be named the New Jersey Sports Writers State College Athlete of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pat Holden.
Thank you. Thanks so much. That was a great introduction, Mr. Folks. I would just like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for inducting me this evening. I would also like to thank or congratulate the other inductees this evening, as well as those who have been inducted. I just want to give a special thanks to the few tables over here of people that have come out tonight to support me and to be a part of this experience. And I'm sure I'm sharing the same sentiment with everybody here this evening being inducted. It's truly a tremendous honor. When I first got the letter in the mail that I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I had a lot of thoughts racing through my mind. And the two words that came to me were grateful and fortunate. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a lot of athletes in this country and in this state that are passionate about playing their sport, especially basketball. It's it's a popular sport. And God has blessed me with speed and quickness, first of all. These were attributes that were given to me. And these are nothing I developed on my own. So I am grateful for that. And I'm fortunate because my father was my high school coach. He started me at a very, very, very young age. He was very, very passionate about coaching, and he's getting inducted into the Coaches South Jersey Hall of Fame in February. So I feel fortunate. I was in a good place, and God had blessed me with certain attributes that you have to be successful. So those are the two things that came to mind for me. And my mother was always very supportive of my father's passion. He spent a lot of time in the game. I met my wife in high school and dated her through college, married today with 3 kids. She was always very, very supportive. So I've been fortunate and blessed in so many ways. And that I'm very thankful for. Mr. Folks mentioned about being at other places. My father and I didn't know a whole lot about the recruiting process coming out of high school. I made a poor decision. I went to a Division I school in upstate New York, and I was there 6 weeks. It's a true story. I was there 6 weeks and left. I spent 3 years at Trenton State, and I was ineligible my first year because I had to sit out. I didn't get a release, which I didn't plan on getting, and I played 2 years. And at the end of my second year, I started as a freshman. I was a captain as a sophomore, and it's just the environment was not me. My enthusiasm for playing the game was gone, and I'll never forget it. And I came home. It was, I guess, summer of '88, I would say. Yeah, summer of '88. And I remember coming home and telling my dad, listen, I'm done playing. I have my passion for the game's not there. I wasn't in a good situation up there. And he said, listen, he sat me down, said, let me call Coach Matthews, and the rest is history. I came here. I had a great experience. And I remember talking to Chris Crowley. It's an unbelievable staff. That staff had an uncanny ability to relate to players. It was Coach Jerry Matthews, Chris Crowley, and Roy Heck. I did not live on campus, but I got to know my teammates after. It took a while to get to know them. I had great teammates back then, and it was just a great situation. That was Coach Matthews is a player's coach. Coach, would you come up here for a second, please? Coach Jerry Matthews. I will say he moved quicker when he had me as a player. But Coach Matthews, I wish I had more time to tell you some of the stories, but this staff just rekindled my whole enthusiasm for playing. And I don't know whether I've ever articulated that to them or not, but I'm so grateful for that. That's where those words still come into my mind, grateful and fortunate. And I just had an unbelievable experience here. I had a smile on my face. This was the fit for me. And like Mr. Folks said, it took me three times to get it right. But I finally got it right. And I do want to share this with the staff. My daughter was being recruited for a while. She's a senior. She's going to Fordham University this next September. And the only thing that stood in my mind with her during this whole recruiting process was, you got to find somebody like Coach Matthews because you'll have a great experience. So when I went around with her to these different colleges, that's the impact that this staff and this gentleman had on me. And it certainly helped me with my daughter. And I just want to say in closing, I'm sure he'd want to say a few words here, that just want to say in closing, what a privilege it's been, or it was, to be a student athlete here at Stockton, and what a tremendous honor it is to be a part of the sports history here. Thank you so much.
Pat can't tell you the stories, but I can. Now, one of the things that you don't realize when you look at his statistics, the first year he came here, we were 13-2. He broke his thumb, and he did not play the last 10 or 12 games of the season. So the statistics that he amassed while he was here was really done in just a little bit over a season and a half, not 2 full seasons. And in 1989, the year he came here, Trenton State went to the national championship game and lost. And I don't know if Trenton State would have lost that game if Pat had stayed at Trenton State, because I think he was that good. But we played Trenton State when he was a senior. We're in the league playoffs. We're up 7 at half. 7 minutes into the second half, we're down 7. And a kid hit him in the back of his head. The referee did see it. And one of our kids ran over and was jawing at the kid who hit him. Next thing you know, one of their kids grabbed our kid by the face, and then it hit the fan. It was the worst brawl I've seen in all my years. It was so bad. There were so many people. Look, our fans climbed over the scorer's table to fight. And I was out on the floor. There were so many people fighting, I couldn't see a player. So I just went and sat back. Then I said, let the police settle it. We ended up losing, but it wasn't Pat's fault. A week later, we still made the NCAA, and we beat Jersey City at Jersey City, and we went down to Washington College in Maryland, and we ended up losing by 1. Pat had 39 points in that game, and I don't think I have ever had anybody else ever score 39 points in a game in all of my years. And unfortunately, it was like kind of a way to go out instead of move on because we lost by 1. But it certainly wasn't Pat's fault. And the 2 great years he was here wouldn't have been that way had he not come. And as much as he's thanking the staff, I thank his father for calling me, and I thank him for coming. So again, for Pat Holden, thank you.